fireman spends his whole day looking for fires. I think a fireman spends his whole day rescuing people from fires.
I think at one time the feeling was in the fire service that buildings were going to burn and our main job was to extinguish them. And I think years ago, maybe because of money, maybe because of it wasn't exciting, the emphasis wasn't on fire prevention.
In the history of the fire service, it was always waiting for the big one to come in and having to go for that big one. And now, and most people think all we have to do is go on calls, and it's our primary focus. It's the number one thing. If a call comes in, we drop everything else that we're doing. Those are our fires to put out.
Okay, when the general public thinks about the fire department, they think about the fire truck screaming down the street, going to a fire with the fireman hanging on the back. However, I have a job that's not as glamorous as that. I'm the one that goes out and tries to prevent fires by making sure the buildings are built right, making sure the fire suppression systems are correctly installed.
We now realize, and today's firefighters realize, that fire prevention tours, fire prevention walkthroughs, fire prevention inspections, fire education, training programs, teaching CPR, tours of the fire station, working with today's children who are tomorrow's leaders and could stop fires, is not embarrassing, and it is part of their job.
We spend a lot of time in schools educating the kids ahead of time. Learn not to burn, stop, drop, and roll.
Okay, everyone knows what this is, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Come here, you want to hold it? Come on.
Don't spray it on me.
You can touch it.
Don't spray it on me, man. Don't spray it on me.
Now he's putting on his fire boots and his fire pants. These are big, heavy rubber boots with metal on the bottom so no nails poke through from the bottom. These are really heavy and warm.
Everything we do revolves around preparing for that 2% of the time that we actually fight the fire or handle the emergency. It's only 2% of our time.
I didn't realize when I got into this profession how much time is actually involved in training and drilling and learning about new issues and preparing yourself for the next incident or things that you might not have seen or you might have learned about but you haven't yet encountered that. There's a lot of hours in preparation to keeping up on those skills.
The fire department isn't proud of the major fires they have. What first thing we should do is critique it to see what caused it, and of course that's our obligation by law, and then what we could have done to prevent it and what we did wrong in putting it out. We have to improve our condition. We went to the space program and borrowed their sound. We have to improve our condition. We went to the space program and borrowed the Indy 500 and got the Jaws of Life or the rescue tools to cut open cars on the highways, let alone the racetrack. So we are improving our condition.
It's gotten more complicated. It's not simple wood burning anymore. We go into any structure fire and we're dealing with hazardous materials. We have to be prepared for that and we have to know ahead of time what we're going into. We've looked at things not from the way we've always done them, because if you do things the way you've always done, you'll get what you've always got.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, 8 and 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15. What do we do now? Give 2 breaths. What's the next thing you do?
Then we want to drop down to the ground. Okay. And then what do we want to cover up? Our face. Why do we want to cover up our face?
So smoke doesn't get in your face.
The kids are very aware of what's going on. They plan all their exits. They know they have to have 2 ways out, and they take that home, and they get the adults to also do that.
There's an old saying in the fire service, 200 years of tradition unimpeded by change. And with our department, we'd like to flip it around. We've got 50 years of progress unimpeded by tradition.
I think one of the most valuable management tools that I have, and one that requires time but pays off the best, is building relationships.
One of the things that the chief asked me to do was go out one night a week and just visit the stations and and see that training was being accomplished and evaluate. And one of the stations I visited, when I left the station, I walked out the door and I was walking to my car, and the company officer came out and followed me, and he said, thanks. He says, thanks for stopping in and just talking to us and letting us know where we're going.
Our business cards have right on it, fire prevention is our business, your business, good business. That's unheard of. But if we don't do it, and if the fire chief says, shut the door and sit quietly, they're going to get hurt in the long run. And you know who's really going to get hurt is the people they protect. And a community that doesn't have an active fire department is really missing something.
It helps you so you know what to do when a real fire gets to your house.
Feel if the doors are hot or not, because it can be, if it's hot, there can be a fire.
Try and get out as fast as you can.
Call 911. You should not run around. You should stop, drop, and roll.